Well, I want to thank you for taking the time to deepen your prayer life. You know, at Pinelake, we believe that prayer is more than just talking to God or toward God. Really, at its heart, prayer is connection with God. It's being with God. We would say communing with God. It's learning to listen to God as well as talk to God and share what's on your heart. That's really the heart of prayer. It's time spent talking to, listening to, being with God. I think that's the way actually you were made to live. It's the way we were created. In the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve were created for unbroken connection with God. They walked with Him every single day. When Jesus lived on this earth, that's the way He lived His life. His life was characterized by getting away early in the mornings to pray or sending the disciples on so that they could go ahead and He would spend time praying. I believe that it's out of the overflow of His prayer life that Jesus lived. That's how He had insight for decisions and knew what was coming and had power to live His life. Think about it this way. When the disciples were with Jesus, the one thing they asked Him to teach them to do was to pray. It's not that they had never heard other people pray, and not that they had never prayed. They had heard others. They had prayed, but nobody prayed like Jesus prayed. And they never asked Jesus to teach them how to teach or preach. Never asked Him to teach them how to love like He did or do miracles or cast out demons. No, somehow His prayer life was the one thing they really wanted to emulate and to know. Because I think they knew that it was from His prayer life that the power to love and to preach and to teach and to do miracles, to cast out demons and do the things that Jesus did, that's where that came from. So the idea of 717 praying really flows from the life of those early disciples. Because they were Jewish men, they practiced the Jewish practice of praying 3 times a day. Morning, middle of the day, and then in the evening. They would spend time in prayer with God, praying about different things at each time of the day, but they would just spend their life and their time praying. And that's the heart of us saying, hey, we want to develop a 717 time of praying. 7 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, 7 in the evening, a time for you to commune with God, be with God, talk with God, to cultivate a deep spiritual connection with God. That's not that we're trying to get you to pray at exactly 7 or exactly 1 and exactly 7. No, the idea is that you just learn to seek God all day long. But 7, 1, and 7 will help you to at least have some guidelines and some parameters through the day to be reminded that you were made for connection with God. So here's the way this is going to work. We're going to pray 3 times a day. We're going to provide for you, I'm going to provide for you some help, some guidance, particularly for the morning and sometimes for the evening times of prayer. And in the middle of the day, we're all going to be praying basically around the same idea. Whatever the emphasis is for our church for the next month or so, we're just going to pray that together. So for the first month, that'll be first responders, particularly those in the medical community. Now, the idea is use the help as much as you need it, but don't just lean on the help. You don't just have to pray what I'm saying to pray. You can lean on that, but then the hope is that you're going to pray whatever it is that God's put in your heart to pray. So if you need it, use it. If you don't need it, don't worry about it. You just talk to God and you have your time alone with Him as you're praying together. That's the goal, is just to help you get started in developing your prayer life. Now, here are a couple of things that I want you to keep in mind as you're learning to pray this way, okay? First of all, just be you. Hey, Jesus warned us about trying to pray with a lot of words and fancy words. Don't do that. A great prayer is, God help me. Okay? And if that's all the prayer you've got for a particular morning, midday, or evening, that's awesome. But would you just learn to pray simply, telling God what's on your mind and waiting for Him to speak back to you? Just saying, God, I'm here. I'm here. I need you. And then the second thing is, would you ask the Spirit of God to help you learn to pray? Romans 8, 26 and 27 tell us that the Holy Spirit's given to us to help us to pray. So if you don't know how to pray or you need some help, would you just pray, Holy Spirit, would you help me? Teach me what to pray. Guide me to pray. Straighten out whatever I'm praying. But would you teach me how to pray? Hey, with that said, can I just again say thank you for taking this next step. And now would you put your heart into it? Let's put our heads together. Let's put our hearts into it. And let's learn to be people of prayer.